Hello again, welcome back. Today our video is looking at the topic within algebra of completing the square. The technique of completing the square is most commonly used to solve a quadratic equation. A number of people do not recognise how important and useful the technique is for solving many quadratic equations. Indeed, it is often easier to apply this technique than to use other methods or a formula. Another reason we might complete the square is if we are given the equation of a parabola or a circle. We can use the technique to convert the given equation into a form from which we can read off the main features of the parabola or the circle. We will discuss how the technique can be applied in these circumstances in separate videos dealing with those curves. Finally, the completing the square can be used as an early stage in a multi-stage process of factorising. The aim of the technique is to develop a term which is a proper square, that is, it is the term in the form of bracket x minus a all squared. We can then add supplementary terms as and if we require them. The usual way to complete the square is set in the context of an equation. We need to make it more general than that to get full value from it, so my technique is different from the usual approaches. I want you to learn and feel the basics of my approach as we go through some examples. First example is to complete the square on the expression x squared minus 6x plus 10. I want you to learn to talk to yourself using my words as a basis to help you work through every step. So the first step is open a bracket. Step 2, write an x inside the bracket, not an x squared, just the x. Step 3, copy the sign in front of the x term. Here it was a negative. Step 4, halve the number in front of the x term, so half of 6 is 3, write down the 3. Step 5, complete the brackets and square them. In step 6 we subtract the number we just created. Now we had a minus 3 and we squared it, so that gave us a plus 9, so we're going to take off a minus 9 in step 6. It doesn't matter whether it's a plus or a minus in our square, we're always going to take off a negative. And the last step is to add the number in the original expression. Now the original expression said plus 10, so we're going to have x minus 3 all squared minus 9 plus 10, which allows us to say it's x minus 3 all squared plus 1. So that's the result of completing the square on that original expression. Let's do another example. Complete the square on the expression x squared plus 4x minus 2. So step 1, open a bracket. Step 2, write an x inside the bracket, not an x squared. Step 3, copy the sign in front of the x term. Well, the x term was a plus 4, so we're going to put a plus sign. Halve the number in front of the x term, so half of 4 is 2. Write down the 2. Step 5, complete the brackets and square them. Now step 6, we've just created a 2 squared, so we're going to take off a 4. And then in step 7, we include the number from the original expression, which was a minus 2, to give us x plus 2 all squared minus 4 minus 2, which is tidying up, x plus 2 all squared minus 6. So that's the result of completing the square on this one. Now we could have extended that question. Instead of using an expression, we could have gone to an equation. In other words, the problem would now be solve the equation x squared plus 4x minus 2 equals 0. Well, we've already completed the square for the left side, so let's just put that equal to 0. Take the 6 across to the other side. We have x plus 2 all squared equals 6. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 2 equals, whenever we square root, we always plus or minus, so it's plus or minus root 6, and then subtract the 2 from both sides, so our solutions to the equation are x equals minus 2 plus or minus root 6. Okay, now it's your turn. I want you to complete the square on the expression x squared minus 2x minus 3. I'm going to give you the answer shortly, so you better pause the video right now. Okay, that's probably long enough. Let's go through it. We're going to open the brackets, rewrite the x, copy the sign. It was a minus sign in front of the 2x, so minus. Halve the number in front of the x, which was half of 2, which is 1, so we put that in. End the brackets, square them. We've just created a minus 1 squared, which was a plus 1, so take off a minus 1 and then include the minus 3 from the original expression. So we've got minus 1 minus 3, which gives us minus 4. So it's x minus 1 all squared minus 4. So now finish that one off if we have to solve the equation x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Just do that quickly. Okay, I guess you've got the video back, the audio back on now. So we've got x minus 1 all squared minus 4 is equal to 0. So x minus 1 all squared equals plus 4. X minus 1, taking the square root, is equal to plus or minus 2. Adding 1 to both of those, 1 plus or minus 2 gives us 3 or minus 1. Nice and quick, easy to do. So you should now have the steps to complete the square on a quadratic expression and to use that technique to solve a quadratic equation. Hope I have helped you to clarify the approach. Thanks for watching this video. In the next video in the series, we look at where the coefficient of x is an odd number and when the quadratic is a non-monic. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Also go and do some questions in Test Yourself 1 on my website at drjoesmaths.com. Add a comment below if you have any questions. Good luck. See you later.